Hello, everybody, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Mindy, and we're going to spend a whole week of doing bookish things together. I am at the library, and today I am currently not feeling very well because I started my period and I'm just not feeling great. But I have a book that I am eyeing, and so I'm going to head into the library, and our library app says that it's available here, so we're going to go in and pick it up. Well, guys, I really need to go home and curl up on the couch. I got this one, and this book, it's kind of interesting because I was a Mennonite. I grew up Mennonite, and I left probably like 7 years ago at this point, and this book, I remember seeing an ad for it when it came out, which I guess that shows how long ago it was, but I saw an ad for it and I was not allowed to read it because we were so strict about what we read, but I wanted to read it. Now I'm reading it, and so I'm very excited about this one. And then on my May TBR, I do have Wild Dark Shore. So I decided to grab it from the library, even though I do have it on my Kindle. So yeah, that's what I got. I'm going to go home and I'm just going to sit on the couch and read. Happy May the 4th day. I have my Star Wars shirt on, and I'm heading to the library to get my reading journal stuff printed for the month of April because I have some extra work that I want to do on it this month. I don't always do it every single month, but this month I thought it seemed a little easier to just get it done. So we're going to go get that printed, and then we'll be working on my reading journal this week. This is the book that I got. I do have it on my Kindle, but I thought it might be fun to have the physical copy too, so that's what we got. I feel like my energy right now is just like, but it's also like 1:30 in the afternoon, so I guess that's kind of normal for this time of the day. Um, I have a reading update. I have been reading this for the past couple of days, and I'm at chapter 18, page 145, so I'm not even quite halfway done yet. But I will say this book, it hits you where it hurts. Like, this book is basically in the mind of Eleanor Oliphant, and it's very sad. And like, on the front cover, it says beautifully written and incredibly funny, and that comes from Reese Witherspoon. But I would not say that it's funny. I don't even know where that comes from. Like, there were a few moments where I giggled a few times, but I would not say that this is a funny book. In fact, I literally feel like crying when I think about reading it because it is so incredibly sad, and it's basically just following Eleanor as she is navigating life, and she just thinks that she doesn't need anyone and she's totally fine all by herself, and that she literally needs nobody. And she has weekly phone chats with her mom, and those are very interesting and give you a glimpse into her past and why she is the way she is. And the little glimpses that you get, like, she has lots of flashbacks to her past, even though she's trying not to remember it. They definitely talk about flashbacks and things that happened, and it's just so incredibly sad. And she can't tell when there are signs that there are red flags in somebody, that they are not to be trusted, and she can't tell when somebody is at, or I think she is starting to learn when somebody is safe, but she's still getting there. So it's definitely interesting. And she meets Raymond, one of her coworkers from work, and um, I don't think it's romantically involved at all. Doesn't seem to be that way. It seems like he's just a character who's helping her learn like how to open her heart, and it's just very heartwarming. He is a very heartwarming character and very well done. Um, but yeah, this book is just hitting me, man. And I would definitely look up trigger warnings. I don't know what's the huge trauma point that happened because it's obviously pointing to something massive that happened as a child for her. I have not gotten to that point yet, but I know that it's going to be a huge revelation and it's going to be something heartbreaking. I'm afraid this book is going to just wreck me completely. Um, so when I get there, I'll know for sure. And I like it, I really do, but it's actually kind of hard for me to read. It has been a couple of days since I filmed for this video. I finished Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine, and I returned it to the library already, so I do not have the copy anymore. But I will say that book, I feel like I'm going to be broken forever whenever I think about Eleanor. She is just, I did really enjoy reading about her redemption and her healing and her processing. It was a very well written book. I do not think that I'm going to rate it, however, just because it was just kind of complicated for me to sort through it, just like for reasons that I don't want to say online. And I don't know. It was just not something that I want to rate. But I did enjoy the book, and that's done. And so I spent the last few days just kind of thinking about life. I feel like this week has just been really heavy for me. That is totally unrelated to this video, but that was one reason why I was not reading anything. But then I did start reading the names, and I just read the first chapter last night. And so I will be reading this book over the next few days. I have this book ready to go, and it's following Cora, and she is ready to name her son. He's only a few days old, and she also has a 9-year-old daughter, Mia, and her husband, Gordon, who is respected in the community but a controlling presence at home. He wants her to name the baby after him because it is a long-standing family tradition, but Cora does not want to do that, and so it's just following 3 alternate and alternating versions of their lives shaped by Cora's last-minute choice of name. So yeah, I think I would look up trigger warnings of this book before you read it, because even in the first chapter, literally, it has the potential to just wreck you, which is pretty amazing. I was just like, wow, that's pretty heavy to just like start the book off that way. But yeah, I think it'll be a good book, and I'm excited for the emotional journey of it. Yeah, I'll keep reading that, and then I also need to do my reading journal this afternoon. Okay, I am ready to do my reading journal. I have my book covers here, and I also am going to be doing a Hunger Games page because that book was just one of the best reads of the year so far, and besides Words of Radiance, of course. So I definitely have to do a dedicated page just for that. So let's see. I actually have to finish my March recap because I forgot to print out another copy of Fearful the last time. So I did do that this time, and that is going to go here. And then another thing is I read this book, Unlocking Wealth from the Courts of Heaven. I read this like kind of the end of March into April, so I am trying to decide if I should do that one on this page or if I should do it on my April recap. So I will have to decide that. So let's get going. Let's finish my March recap, and then I can go on to my April recap and also finishing my series tracker. I have the Hunger Games to add in here, so let's get to work. I am so funny, you guys. I keep doing this. I keep forgetting to print out multiple copies of certain books. I need 2 copies of Mockingjay, one for my series tracker and one for my April recap. Silly me, I forgot and I only got one, so I'm gonna have to do this again next month or whenever I do this again and get another copy of Mockingjay. I didn't learn my lesson yet. I am so excited to announce that I have now finished updating my reading journal. So let's start with the series tracker. So this is the second page of my series tracker. We have Shadow and Bone that I started the series, but I have not continued it yet. And then we have the Hunger Games trilogy, which I forgot to print out the Mockingjay one there. So we'll do that next time around. And I added the Hunger Games to my book of the month for April. That was definitely my favorite book of the month from April. And then I added a second sticker here, and I added this down here. And I think it really adds a nice finishing touch, so that's cool. And then I finished my March recap with Fearful down there. So that page is now done, and then I decided to add this book onto my April recap instead. So I decided to do something a little bit more creative for me, and that is I just wrote April recap in very simple letters and then just drew some little puffy clouds, and I hope you can see that. And then I did a sun right there and then some raindrops because we got a lot of rain in April, and I was just like, you know what? Let's make that one all rainy, and then maybe for May I can do something more like flowers or something. And then I did all the books that I read in April. So there is that, and now I did my Hunger Games spread. So I will let you admire that for a second if you would like to, and I am happy with how it turned out. And I tried to do it where the book cover is like the focus of this page, and then we start out with a cornucopia and a quote, and then we have, you know, being in the games with that look of pure terror on her face is just priceless. And then we just have Katniss's mom and her sister there, and we have Rue, and that's just such a horrible scene from the book, but that just it needed to be included. And we have the berries moment. We have them when they are the victors of the Hunger Games, and I just had to include, Fire and Peeta and Katniss together, and I have a row of 5 stars. I also have the Victor's Village and Katniss. I think this was from the Mockingjay series, so I thought that rounded it out well. So that concludes my reading journal update, and I always love doing this. It always feels like a lot of work to sit down and get this done, but it really doesn't take too long, and it's so satisfying, and it's just like I just love it every time, and I just can't stop looking at it. I always go back and look at it again and again. So that's all of my reading journal updates, and yeah, we'll just keep reading, and we'll see how the rest of this video turns out. Hey guys, it's I don't remember, maybe 2 days later. It's Mother's Day, so happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. And yeah, yesterday we went to the lake and I got a bad sunburn on my shoulders, and so my shoulders are just like aching. But anyway, I also just washed my hair, so coming to you with freshly washed hair. And also a book update. So I have been working on the names, and I only started this, like, I don't know, maybe 2 days ago or something, and I'm trying to get through it really fast, and that it helps that it is the weekend because I can read a lot more on the weekends. So I am pretty far in, and I'm pretty sure that I can finish it today because we don't really have too much going on. And I actually feel like I don't know if I will rate the book, and if I do, it's not going to be a very high rating. I'm not sure exactly what genre this is, if it's just like general fiction or what it is, but I shouldn't be reading this genre, I think, because every book that I have read so far that has this vibe, I just don't really enjoy it. It reminds me of Frederick Bachman, and while he is an amazing author, all the books I've read so far by him, I just didn't really enjoy. And like, it's just not for me. Like, it's just not my vibe. And so I actually feel bored. So we're following 7 years apart. There are 3 alternate versions of reality going through 3 separate names. And so, it starts with 1994, 7 years later, and then so it goes through the first name, then there's another chapter with the second name, then there's another chapter with the third name, and then 7 years later, and it goes through that pattern through the entire book. And I actually find it somewhat confusing to follow all the separate timelines, and I have a hard time keeping the details straight in my head because by the time we've read through the one name and established what happened in that timeline, then we move on to a second name and go through all those details, and then we go to the third name and go through all those details, and then we finally circle back around to that first name again, but it's 7 years later and all these things have changed and happened, and it's just like I'm having a hard time keeping up with the details, and I'm just not enjoying the story. And I think it's because of the genre. I'm just not this genre girly. I'm just not connecting. And the other thing, I wasn't sure if I was going to say this, but the main character, his sister, Mia, she is gay, and I don't mean any hate or judgment on anyone, but I'm a Christian and I don't believe that that is biblical. And so, just in the kindest way possible, I don't feel like that's appropriate. And so, I just want to say that's another aspect of it that I'm just not sure what I'm gonna rate this book, or even if I will rate it, just because those factors make it really complicated. So anyway, I guess I feel like I'm kind of rambling now, but we'll finish this book and we'll see what happens at the end of this book. Well, it's the next day. I finished this book yesterday, and yeah, I don't think I'm gonna rate it. It's just a little too complicated for me. I did not really enjoy it. It was not my favorite read, and that's not to say you won't enjoy it, so you can go ahead and give it a try if you want, but I didn't enjoy it. And I'm gonna go ahead and return this to the library probably this afternoon. But I think I'm also going to just wrap up this video here. We're gonna end, and thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Let me know what you thought of these books if you're planning to read them, or if you have read them, and I will see you guys somewhere on the internet. Bye.